Kathi Sottosanti here, Coach Kathi, and I am with Kate Motz. So welcome. We've got a lot of cool stuff for you. We've got a lot of fun plans and ideas, and here we go. So Kathi Sottosanti here, in case it didn't catch, also known as Coach Kathi. I am a mindset coach, a physical trainer, and a light worker. So my passion and mission is to help you turn your, or be the guide to your inside, where we find your light and turn it on for good. And I've been doing that for a long time. And today I'm here with my good friend and author, hello, Kate Motz. The book is Revolutionary Weight Loss, The Predictable Plan to Lose It This Time for Good. So very excited to have Kate here with us. And we're going to tell you, we have a lot to go over. Our conversations can go on for days, and sometimes they do. Mary Lynn, it's so good to see you. It's been a long time. So Kate is a national board certified functional medicine coach and author of this new book, Revolutionary Weight Loss. She's the founder of Integrative Wellness Advisors and has been helping people get healthy and stay healthy since 1995. So we've kind of been doing this as long as we've both been kind of in it for the same amount of time. I started in 1992, but I'm a little older. So there's that. Her mission is to help people discover the root cause, and this is what makes it so exciting. Discover the root cause and not cover things up with medicine. Really find out why and what is going on in your body so that you can truly have a transformation. As she says, and evidence shows that the greatest health transformations are created and sustained when you address the root cause. So we're like the perfect marriage and coaches here, because she covers the stuff that I don't cover. And when I say the same thing, like I believe a true transformation starts not just by having somebody do burpees and push-ups and all of that, but really when you get deep inside and you change someone's mind. I say if I can change your mind, I can change your body. And you take it to a whole other level, where if we fix the problem on the inside, then we can really make changes all over the place, outside, inside, everything, and transformational health.
Yes, but I love what you said about the mind. It's so important. I didn't address that, I think, enough in my book. So maybe we can write another one.
Right, together. There we go.
But yeah, because having the mindset of, I like to tell my clients, try to have the mindset, or teach them to have the mindset of the person who's already accomplished their goals. Okay. Think like the person who's already been there and done that.
Which isn't easy, because in so many cases, right, you uncover things as you go, and it's new to you, because every body is so different, and every situation is so different. Even working with people in mindset, the teacher becomes the student, because there's so much to learn.
Right.
And then I think it's important to talk about the fact that what is important to one, what affects one affects many, because nobody invented a problem. You can't possibly be the first person in millions of years on this planet to have invented that first issue. So what affects one affects thousands, and if not millions. Right. And by going over it, we help a lot of people at the same time. All right, so welcome everyone. All right, so the 4 main categories of testing are food sensitivity, hormones, which you say is the most popular.
It's the most important. I think everything kind of starts there.
Okay. So micronutrient deficiency and gut health.
Right.
And then the 3 other categories are exercise, sleep, and mindset. So we're actually going to be covering all of these in a kind of, we'll call it docu-series, as we're going to be working together over the next 7 weeks to bring to you and cover all the different categories. Because this book may not be the size of an encyclopedia, but I like to think about it as the funnel to an enormous world. So this book has tons of information. You wrote it beautifully.
Thank you.
I feel like you're speaking to me, because actually you are. I mean, if you could see it, I've underlined so much stuff in here.
Because I love that you did that.
Well, because it absolutely relates to me and so many things that I've been through. So it really just, it spoke very well to me, and I'm so proud of you. Did a really phenomenal job. But my point is that this book may not be huge, but it leads to a world of possibility and greater understanding, because you can't possibly cover it in here, so you send people to your bonuses and the resources. So if they can't work with you one-on-one, this book was meant to help everybody by putting it all into words.
Yes, it's kind of a DIY, I know that's the latest term, right? For people who want to tackle this themselves. So being able to, first of all, figure out kind of what your priorities are. So there's an assessment process in the beginning of the book where you just check the boxes of whatever it is that you're experiencing, symptom-wise, and then it kind of gives you an idea of where you need to focus, whether it's on the foods that you're eating, hormones, micronutrients, like you mentioned, all the things that you mentioned, gut health, sleep, movement, mindset. I mean, really, we all need to focus on all of them.
Right. Well, that's why we're going to talk about all of them, because they do all matter and they are all important. And if we're going to help people truly transform, then the better educated we are on all this stuff, the better choices we can make.
Yes.
And there's so much to it, which is why we're starting these conversations. So today, in our first one, our focus is going to be on food sensitivity. So I was talking to someone this morning, and I have a couple of stories to share, and we're going to open up for questions and answers at the end. Mm-hmm. But my sister is a nurse, and she had an experience that was anaphylactic in nature. She was eating a fiber-based cereal, went for a walk, and barely made it home. And because she had Benadryl in the house, it helped to at least make the situation a little better, but she had to call 911. Her throat was closing. And what she learned was that after working with Metamucil for a 10-year period and giving it out to patients, she developed a food sensitivity to psyllium husk. And it actually said on the side of the cereal box that she was eating that 70,000 nurses a year go to the hospital as a result of an allergic reaction to psyllium husk.
That's so crazy.
And I like how in the book you talk about the fact that it could take 20 minutes to see a reaction. It could take days. So why don't we start by going over the difference between allergies and sensitivities?
Okay.
Because I've called everything an allergy.
Right, right. Well, and allergies are the most common thing that people hear about. They are life-threatening, where food sensitivities really are not. I mean, you can make an argument that if you leave a food sensitivity alone for long enough and you keep just suffering and putting that food in your body, eventually it could be life-threatening. Mm-hmm. But food sensitivities won't cause an anaphylactic response.
Okay.
A true allergy will.
Okay.
So it's a different response in the body. But my argument for the food sensitivities being as important to address as allergies is because when we're sensitive to something, it's kind of similar to what you were just talking about with your sister. We can overdo it. So we can eat too many almonds. In fact, the story in my book, each one of my chapters begins with a real client story. Mm-hmm. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. But in this case, she had been overdoing it with almonds. Because almonds are healthy. Why would you worry about eating them? She was having them for snacks. She was having almond milk. And she was overdoing them, and she developed severe digestive issues. And obviously didn't know it was almonds, but we did discover through a food sensitivity test that her daily battle with digestive issues was just the almonds that she was eating. So food sensitivities, they create that kind of thing where your body, I like to explain it, whether it's digestive or you're getting a headache or you're getting, in my case, in my story, I was getting like adult acne as like a 40-year-old, which was so crazy, and it was because I was sensitive to cheese. Right. But anyway, so these things, our body screams at us, I say, when there's something wrong, but we don't necessarily know it's because of the food. We wouldn't think that eating cheese or almonds would be an issue. So being able to test and know what's going on, what it's causing, is just remarkable.
It really
makes
is.
life so much easier to figure it out.
But it really is because, as we say, just because something's healthy doesn't mean it's healthy for you.
Right.
So I did food allergy testing about 7 years ago, and it came back where I was allergic to 17 different foods. One of them was lettuce. So I can't say to people, well, across the board, as a trainer, everyone should be eating salads, because I don't know that salads or lettuce work for everyone. So there were so many other parts to it, but I think food sensitivities, because allergies scream so loud and are so obvious, they're in your face. Right. Where food sensitivities are like the nagging little kid, your kid's sister, not your own kid, of course. Right. So because they're constant, because it could go on for years, and in my case, it did. It went on for 10 years. So in 2009, a quick story, because this is why I'm so fascinated by all of this. In 2009, I became a personal trainer 11 years ago, and as such, I lived the trainer lifestyle. So I was eating chicken and turkey twice a day for 10 years and lifting weights and really trying to, powerlifting at one point. So it was crucially important for me to get chicken and turkey. Those same years, I developed severe allergies. I'll call it allergies. That was my terminology at the time. It was a sensitivity. And I would wake up every night in the middle of the night with absolute pain, itching in my hands and feet, absolute itching every night. And I would have to go downstairs, and I knew or believed it to be an allergy of sorts, because if I took a pill, 20 minutes later, when it finally subsided, I could go back to sleep. That went on for years, and we tested, and I tried taking out the wine, tried taking out the bread, tried taking out the processed this, that foods, gluten, wheat, you name it. I took everything out but the chicken and the turkey, until I watched The Game Changers last October, and coincidentally decided to do plant-based for a month just for fun. And as a result, 30 days later, I learned that after 30 days, my sinuses cleared up. It had gotten so bad, the itching led to my sinuses being completely clogged, that in 2017 I had sinus surgery. And while that alleviated some of the stress at the moment, it wasn't fixing the root cause. It wasn't for 2 more years that I would stop eating meat for 30 days and my sinuses cleared up. And then when I was doing live, after the world shut down in March, I was trying to keep it healthy. I was having a turkey sandwich for 3 days in a row on a, Pepperidge Farm thin. And I was speaking on one of these lives, and you could hardly understand what I was saying, because it was so, my voice was so hoarse, and my allergies were so bad. And then it dawned on me I was having a turkey sandwich. So that was the last time I had chicken or turkey, but that food sensitivity cost me 9 years.
Yeah, right. Because you wouldn't think that you're allergic or sensitive, rather, to turkey. We typically don't associate that kind of issue with a healthy food.
Right.
And, even a lot of people in my field will do elimination diets, and I'm not knocking them. I think they're great. That's one way to discover whether you have sensitivities. But when you're on an elimination diet, you're removing all of the, the big offenders, we call them. So sugar, gluten, dairy, wheat. But we're filling our bodies with good, healthy stuff, clean animal protein, vegetables and fruits, nuts and seeds, but some people can actually still be sensitive to those things. And so, being able to, you can't remove everything.
Right.
You can, but that would be horrible. And it would be such a pain, because then you'd have to reintroduce one food at a time. So
actually, can you talk to the pros and cons because the 2 different avenues are testing and elimination diet.
Right.
So we tested me a few weeks back. We're waiting, and we'll come back with my results when we get them. So I'm going to share them on here with everybody.
Yes. Yeah. So I mentioned the elimination diet. That is, eliminating all the things that I just mentioned. If you're going to be really strict and kind of do it the right way, you would remove all those things for 6 to 8 weeks. 8's better. And then when you're ready to reintroduce those things, you do them one at a time. You eat them for 2 or 3 days in a row, and then you wait and see what happens. And then if nothing happens, then you go to the next one. And the reason why you
and you keep it in the first one?
Yeah, if you have no reaction, then you can continue to eat that, but reintroduce something new.
Okay.
And the reason why you do that is because, you know, if you eat 3 things on the list and you have a reaction, you don't know which one it was, and you have to start all over.
And go for another whole 6 to 8 weeks.
Right, for another whole 6 to 8 weeks. Because really, just a small piece of something that you're sensitive to can actually create a big reaction.
Okay.
So it's difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time. Who has 6 to 8 weeks in their life where they can just eat a very specific, you know, diet plan, which some people can, more power to you.
Yep.
But the food sensitivity test is simple. It's a finger prick. It's a kit that can be sent to your home. It's, you know, 5 little drops of blood on a testing strip that you send through the mail, and then the lab will come back and let you know not only if you're sensitive, but like what the severity is. Mm-hmm. So I know we'll review those results.
And maybe I got the test in April, and and Kate had to prick my finger.
I've been chasing her around town trying to get her to do it.
You do it, please. So if you're a chicken like me, don't worry.
Yeah.
We can get help.
But question earlier, what's the difference between allergies and sensitivities? And I talked a little bit about, you know, some of the reactions, how it's a different response in the body. So, you know, sensitivities won't cause your throat to close up. It might cause your throat to itch, or some of the other things like you were experiencing with the hands itching and stuff like that. But food sensitivities also do other pretty serious things. It's almost like introducing an invader to your body, like a virus. Your body doesn't discriminate between a food that you're really sensitive to and a virus, and it sends the attacking, save the body, you know, response. So it causes a stress response in the body.
Those are the antibodies you talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your body's, you know, you're eating the whatever it is, strawberry, because one of my recent clients is highly sensitive to strawberries. But your body sends a response, and it spikes your cortisol. And we all know cortisol is our stress hormone, which is important, but too much cortisol is where the belly fat starts to come in. When we're constantly cortisol all day long, because we're living in this type of a time, but also because we're eating things all day long that we're sensitive to.
Right.
The cortisol spike day is just it causes things like memory loss and brain fog, and I mentioned the belly fat. So identifying these offending foods can also help with hormone balancing.
Well, then I have to imagine that in 2020, getting this information is even more important because we're living in fear, anxiety, we are exhausted, people's energy is depleted, you know, like there's just so much going on because between COVID and this election, people have just been wiped out.
Right.
So, and I've been saying this in regard to exercise. I think we're learning is that we used to live in a high stress life, right? We'd race, we'd take care of kids, we'd go to work all day, and then we'd really work hard to fit in exercise, which would mean racing to the gym, getting there on time, taking the class. The body doesn't know the difference between physical and emotional stress. Right. Cortisol is cortisol. So if you're already experiencing these negative emotions and you then intake foods that in addition increase cortisol, we're in a little bit of a fight here.
Yeah, it's the cascade, I call it. So that's where it starts. And when I see people in my practice that have severe hormonal issues, meaning their thyroid is having issues, or anyway, you name it, PMS, all the really fun hormonal stuff that, you know, a lot of women go through, it usually starts with cortisol.
Okay.
Cortisol's it's sort of like the easiest one to get out of whack, like I call it. So, you know, this is just one way that we can, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but you can reduce your stress by figuring out what foods you should, I mean, you really can. Yeah. Figuring out what foods are right for you. Because then that's one less stressful event that you're doing to yourself or doing to your body, or that your body's having to cope with.
Right, like my sister who just got her list back of everything she's allergic to, and like she says, which is exactly right, it's all my favorite stuff, right, Eileen? And it's everything I eat all the time. So, like you said, but when we were all drinking milk, which I'm not saying is not, it's one of the categories of inflammatories, but when we were all drinking milk and eating almonds, it didn't have the same effect. But with everybody, you know, so many people switching over to almond milk and then eating almonds as a snack, that's where they're overdoing the almonds. But I don't know that we're consciously thinking, as I'm drinking almond milk, I'm eating almonds.
Right.
We think milk.
Yeah.
But really what we're doing is we're potentially over-consuming between the snacks and this net of too much of a good, healthy thing.
Yeah. Yes, you can have too much of a healthy thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, testing, because we don't know what works for each individual. There's the pooch.
My puppy wants to come in.
So badly. And she's so pretty. She's so pretty.
She's too crazy though.
All right, so weight loss resistance is a term that you use often in here. And I like that because our bodies get stuck or in resistance mode to lose, and so we think we're doing something right by eating certain foods, but yet if we're eating foods that work against us, we're in resistance mode.
Right. Yeah. I use that term because most of the people that I work with have been doing all the things that they know to do to lose the weight. So they're eating healthy, they're, exercising, sometimes too much, but they're exercising, they're drinking their water, they're doing all the things that we're told to do, including the famous eat less, exercise more, which is what we all hear. So, but the weight won't come off. So it's kind of scary sometimes how little these people are eating and how much they're working out, but the body just won't allow it.
Which, from my perspective, is one of the biggest mind games people play anyway, which I talk about a lot, because if you don't eat enough of the right stuff, your body won't release the weight. So we have to eat enough, which brings me to the point, well-fed but undernourished, which is our nation. We are eating, so we eat so much, but so many people don't eat enough of the, and this will come in another conversation too when we discuss micronutrient deficiency, but I think it was something to bring in fun for today, is that well-fed but undernourished, meaning people are eating a ton of stuff, but if they're not eating enough of the right nutrients, then their body is still screaming for more.
Yes.
Because our body wants what it wants, and it wants what it needs to function at its best. And if we don't give it what it needs, and we give it what we want and not what it needs, we're going to be searching for more and searching for more.
Right. And dealing with that weight loss resistance and other health issues.
Right.
That term, it was specific to the micronutrients, but it does fit very well in here. I'm glad that you brought it up. I'm not going to mention any names, but there is a weight loss program out there that I'm familiar with because I tried it many years ago. But I just remember that it was this point system, and you could only eat a certain number of points every day, and if you went over the points, you were doing it wrong, or it was bad, and you would gain weight. But I remember there being boxes of cookies that were only 1 point, and so
snack walls.
Yeah.
Remember them?
Yes.
Yeah. And
I mean that whole low-fat, non-fat, sugar-free, whatever craze.
Yeah, and you have to just trust the experts and the people out there in the food pyramid that's wrong.
Right. Yes.
And led us all astray because we believed we should be eating 6 to 11 servings of breads, grains, cereals, and pastas as our biggest health category.
Yeah. And so talk about being undernourished, because, if you're saving all your points to eat a box of cookies, how are you getting the nutrients that you need?
Right.
So, around this topic of well-fed, undernourished is we can eat a lot. We can look at calories, count calories, or look at points and count points, but it really does matter what you're actually eating.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that point system has gone away, and
it's changed, I think.
I think it has, yeah, which I'm so thankful, because
it's not fiber, it's protein, and I think
that's okay, good. Yep. Yeah. So that's a good point to bring up right now with the undernourished, plus the fact that, we'll talk more about this, but how, our soils are depleted.
Mm-hmm.
We do not get enough essentials from our foods anymore. It's just a fact.
Right, and well, I'm going to do a little plug for isogenics, but that is, a lot of times nutritionally based people will resist this idea and say, you need to get food from the soil, and the scientists of these top line nutrition products have addressed the fact that we're not getting it from our soil, and that's where the creation of these shakes and such whole blends have come in to fulfill and satisfy in a very high level way the nutrition that we're not getting from our foods. And that's part of this. We're going to be talking a lot about replenishment and replenishing ourselves, because 2020's been just a little bit depleting, wouldn't you say? Just a little bit on the depletion factor. Oh my gosh. So how would somebody know if they might have a sensitivity to foods?
So, I have a checklist in the book, and I don't know if you're going to mention this before or later, but everyone here, we're going to give access to the book for free, the ebook. So you'll be able to utilize the assessment process or the questionnaire. So, but some of the things that are really common with food sensitivities are any kind of skin issues. So whether that's acne, and this is for teenagers too. Yes, there's a hormonal component there, but it does matter what they're eating. They will see their skin clear up if they remove their food sensitivities. Also, like ADHD, ADD, also in children, but adults. Digestive issues, and I think with digestive issues, people pay more attention because it's super uncomfortable, and but they may not always know that is typically a food sensitivity. If you eat something and you have a reaction, it is not because you're deficient in Tums or whatever it is that you're taking. It's because you're eating something that your body's sensitive to.
So if you have something to eat and you run to the bathroom as a result immediately after, it's probably something. And I actually used to have this argument with my husband all the time, because he would say, oh, nothing can go through you that fast. What did you eat yesterday? And I would say, I swear it's whatever I just had that is causing an effect on me. And I knew it, and it was hard for someone else to comprehend.
Yeah, right.
Because you can't possibly have digested what you just ate in that amount of time. But yeah,
But it's almost like a poison.
Correct.
If you ingest a poison, your body's going to try to get rid of it as fast as possible, or do something, right? So yeah, it can absolutely be fast.
Being rejected by your body.
But it can also be 2 days later. So that's what makes it so difficult to figure it out without doing some type of testing.
And that's why the itching in the middle of the night would drive me crazy, because I couldn't tell what it was.
Right.
But a slow sinus buildup over 9 years was just, that's why I love to talk about it, because if we could save somebody else from going through the same thing, then that's what we're doing here.
Yes. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So I have been tested, and we're going to get those results back. The crowding out process. So you talk about the crowding out process. Now, if we're working or talking to an obese client, they're taking in most likely so many foods that already we know cause weight gain, let alone inflammation in the body. And what you talk about is kind of the crowding out process, where if you start to take, and correct me if I'm wrong, bring in a new food that works for you, and then bring in another new food, eventually you'll crowd out the things that don't work for you.
Right.
Is that what you mean?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a different way of doing it. I don't know about you, but when I was told that I couldn't have something because of a sensitivity, all I wanted was that thing.
Right.
So as soon as you say you can't have the cookies because you're on a diet or whatever, all you want are the cookies.
Well, if you tell me that a lip gloss is a limited edition, I need 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Same kind of thing.
So I relate.
So, and I use this a lot with my coffee drinkers out there. I don't make my clients stop drinking coffee, but sometimes we need to reduce the amount of caffeine. And every now and then we need to remove the coffee. I actually developed a sensitivity to coffee. And so, you know, I guess I can talk about my process with crowding out. I love coffee. It's not the most like tasty thing. I would rather have a cookie, but I love the experience around it and the smell, and especially this time of year when it's freezing cold. Anyway, so I needed to find a replacement. So in this particular, you know, situation where you're crowding something out, you find a replacement. And in the beginning, it could just be something that you like just as much or almost as much. And then you have that thing before you have the thing that you're not supposed to have. So you drink I don't know, there's this new stuff called mud water, which I haven't tried it, but I've heard good things, as a coffee replacement, where you have that first, and then if you still want your coffee, then you have your coffee. And the theory is that at some point, you're going to feel differently because you're not having the thing that you're sensitive to. And when you go back to it and it creates a big reaction, your motivation to not have it will be very different than someone just telling you have to stop drinking it or stop eating it. And
I'm going to piggyback on that because I learned years ago from a book called The Thin Commandments by, I think it was Stephen Gullo, that if every day you crave a Snickers bar at 3 o'clock, then your body will to get that Snickers bar at 3 o'clock every day. But if you put something else before it, or you have the Snickers bar as dessert, same idea in theory, but different twist, you won't be looking for the Snickers bar, you'll be looking for the yogurt first because it's going to be a buffer for the craving for the Snickers bar. Yeah. So
it's really, you know, it's a mindset thing, and that's, you know, I know more your specialty is the mindset, but this is it's a different way of replacing things that are no longer serving you, or we go into a whole other thing about that.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's I'll say it's less painful for my clients when we identify things that they are highly sensitive to. It's tough to just remove them.
Right.
But one thing I should mention about food sensitivities that's good news, is that they don't last forever. So you can overcome, and the body can heal, and you can go right back to eating whatever it was that you had to remove.
Okay.
So that's the good news. I know that's not always the case with allergies.
Right.
You know, true anaphylactic type allergies. But with sensitivities, I see it all the time in my practice. We have to remove the foods for a while, but you can go back to them eventually.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so it's not a forever.
Right, that's very cool. You also talked about the elimination diet and a gut healing protocol.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I was intrigued.
Well, when the body's sensitive to foods, and we've been eating them for like 9 years in your case, not only does it create whatever symptoms you're experiencing, and potentially hormonal imbalances, but it can also create big issues in the gut, big problems in the gut.
Which is our second brain.
Right, which is so important.
Did I read there's, well, not in here, but in general, we have more brain cells in our gut than in our brain.
They're like
Something
the
like
scientists are now saying that we have another brain in our gut, and 70% of our immune system starts in our gut. Like that.
70%.
70% of your immune system begins in the gut. So gut health is
so important. All right, so let's pause on that.
Okay.
Because right now, in 2020, with COVID and everything, it is extremely important to keep our immune system up.
Right.
So, this is profound to me. Thank you for saying that. If 70%, say it again?
70% of your immune system.
Of our immune system.
Begins in the gut. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of our immune system begins in the gut, then would you say it's incredibly important, even more so now in 2020, to eat the foods that serve us well to keep our immune system up?
Yes. Yes. Because what happens, it's another cascade, I call it. What happens is you're constantly eating these foods that you're sensitive to. which throws off your hormones, which causes havoc in your gut because that's where all the food goes.
Yeah.
And it actually creates a situation where your body can't even absorb the nutrients that you're taking in. So then we develop nutrient deficiencies. And then all kinds of crazy things start happening. Because when we're deficient in certain vitamins and minerals, I see the biggest issues with nutrient deficiencies, which I know we're going to talk about another time. But absolutely.
This is why we could go on for days, because there's so much to talk about.
But eating the foods that are right for you, and that's the key. It's the foods that are right for you. It's not the foods that this guy is saying to eat and that diet's saying to eat and this one's saying is that, I love all the different plans out there, the keto and the paleo and all this, that, the other, but we have to stop being so general with people because it's not serving our bodies.
Right.
We have to be specific.
And pay attention to the foods you're eating. So would you suggest keeping a journal and taking, really, because if we never slow down, and we had slowed down in the last how many months, and we start to pay attention, like COVID stopped everything. And so this has been a phenomenal opportunity for us to hit the reset button in such an amazing way, where we can really focus and hone in on learning so much about our bodies. And even I say, training people outside and calling it environmental, slowing down to do more because we're out in healing nature, we're out in the sun, we're taking, just resetting and doing things differently by keeping a journal and not just letting it go to the ways of, I have a stomach ache, but, writing everything down and paying attention to what bloats you, to what, if you have a breakout, what did I, so you can go back and look and then combine that with testing to see what it is you're putting in your body.
Right.
I'm excited to see what comes back because I know a lot of it. It doesn't mean I follow it.
Right.
And so I kind of want a fresh start for myself because I know my body reacts funky a lot. I know that it's because of foods and sensitivities. But like anyone else, I go into the gray zone where I just eat this and that. I don't necessarily follow, but I'm ready to. I'm kind of excited to do that. So
yeah, you'll see it's a different motivation when you see
totally
that
different.
When you see that big red line.
Right.
And it tells you that you're sensitive and your numbers should be between 100 and 300 and yours are like 1700.
Right.
It creates that sense of urgency that so many people need to really, make the effort to remove the food.
Right.
But I do love what you said about the journal. That is key.
Okay.
I'm sorry that she just
keeps
baby. Like jumping and she so badly wants to come in. But we can't because she'll be in the camera. Right?
Yeah.
So keep a journal, keep track of, you can learn a lot of things about yourself doing that with a food journal. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, I keep sometimes when I'm, doing a cleanse or detox or whatever, or, searching for food sensitivities. Yeah. Or even I just open my notes and my phone and just talk about what did I eat today.
And why don't we offer this up? And since we're going to be doing this again, if anybody wants to keep a journal over the next week, and come back with questions, feel free to do that because we're going to be coming back. Looks like starting next week will be Monday instead of Tuesday at 4 to go over all of these different categories. So there's a lot.
Yes.
And even, like I said, so the book is not an encyclopedia in size, but it is an encyclopedia in the wealth of information that can be gained from all the aspects of this. It's just that you have to put it into something tangible so that we come out on the other side. And a lot of this, can be done on your own. So we're going to open it up to questions if you want to, we're not live on Zoom or anything, but if you want to write a question on the side, we'll be happy to answer anything that you want to say or anything you want to chime in.
Or even if you're watching the replay, you can also put questions down. And I will be putting the link for the book here. And then
thank you. She's going to give us, everybody's going to get a copy of the book.
Copy of the book.
So maybe we can have our own book club. So as we go over all the different topics, and perhaps you're reading along, next week we're going to be talking about hormones, which is one of the most important. And then we're going to go to micronutrient deficiencies, which to me is one of the most intriguing. Gut health, exercise, sleep, and mindset. That will wrap it all up. So our goal together, Kate and I, as coaches, is to have this replenishment time in 2020 together as we head into the new year and give information and motivation and inspiration so that we can learn, take care of our bodies, and go into 2021 in amazing health. And I think that one of the greatest things that's come from 2020 literally has been the power to slow down, the power to reframe how we think, the ability to change our beliefs and thoughts, because the world has changed so completely. We now have an opportunity to just see other ways, to see that there's another way to do something. There's another way to approach life. There's another way to live that can be better than it ever was. We can be better than we ever were at this age and stage coming out of 2020 and into 2021 if we stop to take the time to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like what you said. At any time, at any age, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Nope.
You can feel fantastic. Yeah.
From teens to seniors, it doesn't matter. So we're going to be exploring this from a whole new angle, really getting kind of deep into it, combining our dual skills and how we complement each other, coming together as coaches from different categories. So it's really been very exciting for us as we have also learned from each other, which is really very cool. Now, I'm not seeing anything coming up, so hopefully this is still on and you can all see it. If anyone has any questions for Kate, feel free. And again, I will post this after, as I know a lot of people reached out. They wanted to see this, but they weren't able to make 4 o'clock. That's great. We'll post it again, and then I'm going to try to download and repurpose it on Coach Kathi, the YouTube channel, so that you have a forever link there as well.
Is that a question that I'm seeing?
It could be.
I don't know.
Want to bring it closer?
It's too small, but it went away. I will answer any questions that anybody's putting in the comments. But for those of you that are planning on coming back next week and you know, being with us again while we talk about hormones, and I hope you're okay with me saying this, but download the book and complete the hormone assessment, and then bring your questions, because we're going to talk about hormones. You know, I can walk through the process if you'd like on how to determine what your hormonal imbalances are based on the questionnaire. But you know, that's a little homework if they want to really use this time to figure out what's going on with their own hormones.
So I want to say use this time, because Kate's a very busy coach out there, and she's giving this time to us on these forums so that we can all get to better places. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, it's great. It's really exciting. So we're going to put some links in the groups that are watching so that you get access to the book. Thank you. Again, I've got it all. If you could see it, I have notes and underlined in so many different places because it really was speaking to me. Oh, this was, I'm just pulling this out, preventing the retox. So here's going to be another aspect of where we're going as well. What you say here in gut healthy and toxicity, and this is going to be huge to talk about. Remove toxic household products, including nonstick cookware, plastic containers of any kind, air fresheners, cleaning products, antibacterial, anything, and bleach.
I know. How dare I say that?
But you know what? This is very important because fear and reality have led us down the path of constantly sanitizing our hands. And while that may work against COVID for the moment, what are the effects going to be as we move forward? And I think there's a lot to be said about this. going forward? How?
Yeah, this is a tough one though, you know,
It
because
is.
everybody wants the hand sanitizer, and I understand. I still think there's nothing better than good old-fashioned soap and water. So if you can do that more often. But I've been working with a lot of people that have some pretty serious gut imbalances going on. An overgrowth of some bad gut bacteria, which I call bad gut bugs, and not enough of the good gut bugs. And one of the reasons is because of the overuse of antibacterial everything. We're all about the antibacterial, and I get it. Nobody wants bacteria on their hands or their food, but we actually need some of it.
Yeah.
Our bodies actually need
to be dirty,
to have dirt and bugs and bacteria. And so I know this is a tough one right now. But it will cause things to go wrong in your gut, which then will cause a lot of other things, including weight loss resistance. I have some clients who their main issue is that their gut bacteria is not properly diversified. That's it. We fixed the gut diversification, and some of these people have been trying for 10 years to lose weight and without success, and all we're doing is balancing gut bacteria, and then the weight just melts off. It's incredible. So it's that important,
right, for
a lot of other things too, you know, neurological health and a lot of serious, not that weight's not serious, but you know, so yeah, really important. So, you know, I'm not saying not to use antibacterial, but soap and water works great.
Yeah. We're going to be touching on a lot of subjects. So there's a lot more to talk about. Yes, good bacteria, exactly. So there's so much more to talk about, and we're going to be covering a lot, and, you know, we're going to be wading through these uncertain times together and bringing you this information. So as Kate said, she's going to put the links here so that you can download the book, and then there's Kate, of course, as a coach in person, but the reason she wrote this book is to reach a lot more people who can also help themselves.
Yes.
And so you have the resources bonus page where people can go and find out how to get a test kit for themselves if they're food sensitive.
Yeah, the resources guide is testing links to tests that I know are great, direct to consumer. And there are resources for doing an elimination diet if they choose to do that. And I have swaps as far as, you know, if you have to remove something, what can you swap for that? There are a ton of resources. Yeah. So
we'll add that link to the
we can do that
list here as well.
Yes.
And then we'll just keep talking.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It has been so good to be back here. It's been a long time since I did a live, and I'm excited to be doing these again. It's been great, though. It's been busy. We've been learning and teaching and training and coaching and creating so much stuff, and then working to bring you a replenishment plan so that you can work on replenishing yourself, which is going to be so much more fun to focus on than the depletion that we've all been experiencing. So I want to thank you all for watching. Continue to leave questions because I'm going to hit the end in a second, but feel free to continue to ask questions, or you can send us an inbox if you would like, and we can answer anonymously so that we can, you know, use a different name. If you want to share something with us, we can share it with the group so that they all know as well. Feel free to if you're not in Coach Kathi, the private page, make sure that you are there as well, because that's where most of the conversations happen, in the private group. This is the business page, although I'm sharing it to Coach Kathi. And then where can we find you?
My Facebook page is Integrative Wellness Advisors. So you can find me there, although I think this is on my personal page today.
Okay, Integrative Wellness Advisors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'll put a link.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the group. But through the book, they can find me, and through the Facebook page, and I'll make sure that contact information is available for everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So we'll see you next time when we'll be discussing hormones. And that is something that affects everyone. You can't escape it. We all have them. And we all want to find a good balance in our hormones so that we can live our best life. So thanks for watching, everybody. Coach Kathi and Coach Kate, and we will see you next week. I'll put up another announcement so that you can have it as a reminder, and download the book. Let's do book club and bring your questions.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you.